What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of the Upland Show. Today, we're discussing the fourth video in our little series of the past few videos we've done on the updates to the Upland economy. And I think we saved one of the best ones for last. This has to do with the Spark login bonus. This is awesome for new players because Spark has already proven to be a super valuable resource in the game. If you own Spark and you can build buildings on properties, these properties are selling for a lot of money very quickly. Like, for example, if you went and minted 10 properties in Chicago for only 5,000 UPIX and you put a building on each of those properties, the smallest little townhouse you can put on that, it's raising the value from 5,000 UPIX to like over 50,000 UPIX instantly. Wow. And they're selling that day if they're listed.
Wow.
So if you didn't know, properties really are already adding a lot of value. And the way to build properties and build them faster is to have Spark. So this is why any player is going to, smaller, newer players can come in, and just by being more active in the game, they're going to be able to increase their value and make more money in Upland.
Cool. And quick question. So how much Spark is needed to create a building on a single property, and how long does that process take to build that building? Is it variable based on the amount of Spark?
It's based on how much Spark you have. So I have quite a bit. I have about 10 because I've bought a lot of Spark every time they've had it for sale. I've probably paid over $1,000 just to buy more Spark. But I can show you an example of one I'm building right now. So here's a small amount of Spark, like 0.1 Spark I have on this property in Chicago. And it's building these buildings. If I go to manage this 0.1 Spark, it's going to take 352 days.
Ooh.
So it takes a long time. But if I were to put like 10 Spark on this,
3 days. Gotcha.
I can build these in 3 days.
I see.
And that's about how much Spark I have total. So in theory, I could be building a property every few days right now. I could be building a small building on a property.
Okay.
But so I'm building, the bigger the building, so for example, an apartment building here, which is the largest building you can build right now, and it takes a longer time and more Spark to build it. I have almost 10 Spark on that, and this one still has 17 days left.
And
so
how long ago did you do that?
You can see how far it is, so it probably was like 25 days in total.
Gotcha.
To build. And that's like 10 Spark staked on it. So that's a lot.
And back to your earlier comment, obviously by having an apartment building, the largest type of structure that can be built so far currently in the game of Upland on that property in Oakland, you hope to see the UPIX price of that property probably 5x maybe than what you paid for it.
I mean, that should be going for well over 100,000 UPIX with a apartment building on it.
Cool.
So you can see how important it is to have Spark, to accumulate Spark, and to be building buildings in the game of Upland. Buildings, I think, are only going to have more and more utility in the future that is going to benefit the Upland economy.
Yeah.
So how will this work? For now, they're just giving us an example. So for example, if a player logs in consecutively for 7 days, they will receive a variable Spark bonus subject to adjustments in balance of supply and demand of Spark. So let's say if a player logs in 7 days in a row, they earn 0.1 Spark. That's pretty good.
That's way cool.
I mean, in a month, you can earn 0.4 Spark. Again, we're just giving an example, but maybe it'll be something like that. I think it's going to incentivize more daily active users. I think in the long run, this just helps Upland continue to grow.
Sure.
Get people in the habit of logging in daily, checking what's going on in Upland, because Upland's just having more and more announcements and new things every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it makes sense that they want to incentivize daily active users. From a business standpoint of Upland, we know that they recently received an $18 million investment round. I imagine in a year they're going to hope to get like another round, maybe 300 million or something like that, you know. And I know that daily active users does help. So I know that the Upland team probably is also incentivized to want to show investors, hey, look, we have 300,000 daily active users, or wait till we're seeing 500,000 daily active users. I think having a Spark bonus just helps it be more of a game and be more of a. Almost all mobile games incentivize you to want to log in every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's any good mobile game has that. So I'm glad that Upland is incorporating something like that. And it's not a stupid reward they're giving you. They're giving you Spark that can be used to generate a lot of income for yourself.
Yeah, and I love that last sentence. Using Spark as a reward mechanism also relieves the pressure on UpX as the sole economic incentive in the Upland metaverse. So, again, I'm very impressed with the at least the economic planning that goes or that's thriving constantly within the backgrounds of Upland to ensure that the value of an individual UpX only increases and not decreases. We don't want to see the value of UpX become deflationary. We want to see that only continue to increase in value. So using Spark allows UpX to serve as its sole or core purpose, rather than being this other kind of just throw away incentive, bonus or whatever.
Yeah, and you don't want to see the game giving away UpX in and of itself, right? Like as a login reward. You don't want the game to be giving away.
Cheapens the value of the UpX for sure.
But Spark, where it's more of like a utility in the game, it makes a lot of sense, and I'm totally okay with that. But even though I've had to pay a lot of money out of pocket to buy more Spark, I've paid over $1,000 just buying Spark.
Yeah.
I'm okay with them slowly distributing it out more,
Yeah, because when you think about it, imagine if UpX was the reward. Okay, so as you log in over and over and over again, you get more UpX. Well, there's a dollar value fixed to UpX, and if you learn how to take your UpX and convert it into USD, that's just going to be incentivizing the wrong behavior. That's just going to be incentivizing taking this free token that's being given to you and turn it into money, and not actually incentivizing playing or development.
Exactly.
Whereas Spark actually incentivizes, further enhancements to the metaverse, because if you own a property and you build a structure upon that property, and then you sell it and it changes hands multiple times, that property is still going to be there unless someone deconstructs it or whatever. And so over time, you've got a metaverse just populated with structures that will have some utility, we hope, in the future. So by giving out Spark, it definitely incentivizes the right behavior inside of the game, rather than just here's some money that you can cash out.
Exactly. And I'm sure the Upland team is looking at the current, just as of right now, how many properties exist in the game of Upland, how much land exists, and how many buildings have been built, and how much Spark currently exists, and how quickly it could create a building on every property. And I think it's years. I think if every player who even had Spark was using it to its full capacity at 100%, always being used building a building, that it's still already years to complete all the, and all we're gonna have is more cities being released.
Yeah.
So we are going to need more Spark introduced to the game to keep up with the demand of building that's going to need to be done in the metaverse.
And currently right now, what are the ways in which you can purchase or earn Spark?
So they do about, as of right now, it seems like a once a month they do a Spark sell. So you can earn Spark just from purchasing it from the store. Check the events calendar to see the next time they're doing one of those. Also, you can earn Spark through treasure hunting, which is pretty cool. And I don't think there's necessarily a limited amount. I think that's how dedicated people are to treasure hunting, which is even cooler way than this daily login rewards. Like, you can have a proactive way to go out and earn Spark. And I know that there's some players who are earning close to like 1 Spark a month or even more than that just from treasure hunting.
Wow, really?
Which is super lucrative if you
That's
see
amazing.
some of these prices that you're getting for building buildings, you know.
I need to start doing more of those treasure hunts.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So now you know, here's yet another way to earn Spark and to make more money in the Upland metaverse.
You know, so this is the end of our 4-part series on these updates to the game, to the economy within Upland or within the Upland metaverse. But I think it's probably apropos if we just read these last 2 sentences of these final thoughts, which are, this is a lot to take in, all these things we've just discussed. But these concepts should help clarify our vision for a thriving metaverse. We are incredibly excited about the future of Upland and looking forward to this new phase of the economy. Thanks for your continued support onward and upward. And I just love the idea. I mean, those are just 3 sentences, but I think there's some important concepts packed into those 3 sentences. First of all, that, you know, clarifying their vision for a thriving metaverse. So, you know, again, the economic principles that are being applied, and not just in theory, but in application into this metaverse, are important to recognize what's, important to recognize, because this is it is an economy. It is not just a game, but it's an economy, a true economy, and it follows the same economic principles of any type of macro economy that you might study. And so it's really incumbent upon the leadership team of Upland to ensure that they're managing this economy in a responsible way that fosters growth, attracts new players, and allows each one of us to make money.
Yeah.
So I find that incredibly encouraging. I know that there's maybe some things that were announced that may be a bummer to some people, but I think most of those are can be mitigated if you just look at how they will benefit the overall economy broadly. And a couple of them are to de-incentivize bad behavior or poor performers, and that's always a good thing for an economy.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that and say I've been very impressed with the Upland team and how careful they have been to protect the Upland economy. I've seen them make some really interesting moves this past year. We've talked about most of them on this show. To protect that economy and make sure it stays steady growth. I mean, we've seen them release out cities really quick and then take some breaks, and then now they've released Bronx and then the expansion to Oakland, and they've sold out almost instantly. So they're probably going, okay, it's scaling healthily and effectively. And they actually said that at the beginning of this post, like that all of these things are to continue to just protect the economy, make sure it stays steady and stable for all of us who are making investments into this game. And I know the Upland team knows that we all hope to receive a return on our investment in this game. And so I think they're doing a lot to protect that, make us feel good about our investment, and I'm very happy with what I'm seeing.
Very cool.
So thank you so much for joining us. As always, we hope that this series was helpful to you. Please leave us a comment. Let us know your thoughts. We hope these 4 videos that we released kind of helped clarify some of these announcements that the Upland team has made. And as always, we hope to see you in the next one. Peace out.